So, with that, I do want to thank everyone for joining us today for the Family Peer Support Services webinar. Couple housekeeping items. If you have questions regarding today's content, we ask that you put those in the Q&A box. If you have questions, technical issues, we'll do our best to help you. However, my abilities to help you remotely will be a little limited. I can give you some suggestions and things like that. One question has came in is, can we print the PowerPoint? So yes, you will have the opportunity to print the PowerPoint when we put out the recording of today's webinar. The presentation will be available as well. So I have Lisa Nothouse with me. She is with Division, and I would love to tell you her exact title, but I might mess that up. So I will let her share that with you as I now turn that over to her.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you again for joining us on this webinar today. As hired, my name is Lisa Nothouse, and I work for the Division of DD under the Supporting Families Initiative. We'll also be joined later in this webinar by Heather Lytle, the Executive Director of FACT. This highlights a new service to the Division of DD called Family Peer Support. Discuss the service requirements and provide an overview of what the service looks like in action. Some people already be familiar with peer services, but just want to go ahead and provide a brief overview. Services provide an opportunity for an individual to offer an array of supports to a peer that is on sharing similar lived experiences, making emotional connection, sharing information and knowledge, and giving mentor opportunities to help develop skills that promote resiliency and positive outcomes. Peers are becoming more and more prevalent and recognized in many agencies that focus on behavioral health services, but family peer support services are new to the Division of DD. In 2018, the Partnership for Hope waiver went through the renewal process. The Peer Support Service is a new service that was added to the waiver and was approved. So it is a available service for a few months and is something that contracted providers can provide to an individual's family if they are participating in the Partnership for Hope. Family Peer Support Service is managed through a provider agency that has a contract with the Division of DD. This is to be provided to a parent or family of an individual by a family support partner who works for the provider agency. One of the first about a family support partner, or an FSP for short, is that they function as a non-clinical support to the family. An FSP is able to connect to a family through their similar lived experiences, supporting and caring for a family member with an intellectual or developmental disability, hence the term peer support. FSP support enhance the family's skills so they can effectively understand and contribute to various planning processes and services that will better promote positive functioning and outcomes. Results in their family members' ability to live successfully in their home and their community. So FSP can do. FSP help families learn ways to effectively support their family member with intellectual and developmental disability and meet their family's needs. FSPs can help a family identify their unique strengths, and they can assist a family to become active participants in identifying and planning for both current and future needs of their family member. An FS assists a family navigating through various service systems. Over time, people need different services for their family member throughout the different phases of lives. Well, those service systems might easily include early childhood or preschool programs, education and appropriate supports, transition services that include exploring employment, higher education opportunities, or transitioning into life as an adult with related support. Assist a family to brainstorm and problem solve situations and actually help them identify maybe possible alternatives to help meet their needs. FS also assists families to learn and use skills that help them become better advocates for themselves and for a family member. Additionally, FSPs help families become more resilient by helping them build relationships, communicate and plan effectively, and build self-confidence. FSP, that's one of the big questions that we get. So look at the job qualifications. The FSP position is non-clinical and is based on lived experiences. In order to qualify and work as an FSP, or a family support partner, through the Division of DD, the parent or family member of an individual with an intellectual or developmental disability. They must have at least 5 years of lived experiences supporting and providing care to their family member with IDD, at least 18 years old, and have a high school diploma or its equivalency, or at least working to pursue that requirement. FS also attend a 3-day training that is scheduled and coordinated by DMH staff and an approved peer support curriculum. The provider agency staff who will be overseeing and supervising the FSP for their agency is still required to attend that 3-day training in order to provide adequate oversight to the position. FS all required criminal and background checks that successfully attend and complete orientation, attend DMH-approved trainings, and a certification exam related to the position. The training that I'm referring to is a 3-day training that I mentioned is in Jefferson City and is scheduled by the designated DMH staff throughout the year at different times. After 3-day training, FSPs are required to take an electronic exam that covers relevant points and functions of the position. That training focuses on equipping FSPs with tools and understanding of how to work effectively with families and the stages that some families go through, helping families become more resilient. Trainings are scheduled. Notification and registration information will be shared via the Division of DD's email notification system. It will also be shared with the provider relations teams at the regional offices. FS will have access to transportation in order to meet functions of the position when needed. Now that I've overview of the FSP position, let's quickly review who can receive services from an FSP. Services can be provided to a parent or family whose family member is participating in the Partnership for Hope waiver. At this point, the Partnership for Hope waiver is the only DD waiver that offers family peer support. FSPs can be provided to an individual family or to a small group of families. Small groups can range from 2 to 4 families who each is participating in the Partnership for Hope waiver. FSP is working with several families that can all benefit from learning the same information. Service can be delivered to them in a small group setting at the same time. In order for FSP services to be authorized, it must be identified and written into the family member's individualized support plan or their ISP and their budget as a need for the family and their family. And their family. Please note that no FSP can provide services to their immediate or extended family. So now, of the Family Peer Support Service with the Partnership for Hope waiver and outlines the role and function of a family support partner, I'd like to ask Heather Lytle, the Executive Director of FACT, to provide you with examples of how her organization provides FSP services to families in the St. Louis and surrounding areas. Heather, introduce yourself. Yeah, we can.
Okay. Are you getting feedback?
Not now.
Okay, good. My name is Heather Lytle, and I am the Executive Director at FACT, Family Advocacy and Community Training. We are located in St. Charles County, and we have been providing family support services to the DD population since 2014. And you basically is we support families in their homes. We visit families maybe an hour a week. And it is dependent on if there's other required meetings. So we'll go to school meetings with the family, we'll go to court, we'll go to children's division. And, sorry, I'm trying to turn my sound down because I'm getting feedback. Okay, and then what we specifically do, what our whole goal is to try to give families the support they need to be resilient, empowered, successful, and so that they're able to advocate for their children in whatever system. So if that's school, or if it's children's division, or juvenile justice, or EMH. And our main goal is to ensure that all families are aware of all of their options. So we're not the family support partner is not a person who will tell a family what to do. What we'll do is give them all the different options, choices, or the thing they might do. So if our goal is that people are included in society, living in the community, able to work and live as everybody wants to live and work, we want to make sure that families know as soon as we're able to start meeting with them, there's so many opportunities and choices for people with disabilities. And when we're able to give the parents the information and knowledge and to advocate for themselves, that's a skill that lasts their whole life. Do you have anything to add more? Do you want me to give specific information about examples of some stories?
Well, if you have a couple of examples of some stories, sure, that'd be great. Because I think one of the questions that people have is, how is this service different than what a support coordinator can give to a family? So having the highlights of what the FSP can do that's a little bit different would be great.
Okay. So what we do is we try to partner with the support coordinator. We, generally speaking, do not serve families that are perfectly content. Children are successful in school. They have all the services that they need through their support coordinator. We are serving the families who call the support coordinator 4 times a week that are asking the support coordinator to do things that are outside of that role or their role. Some examples we have are we were serving a mom that taxes in 5 years. She had 3 children that had various disabilities, so some were developmental and some they had mental health issues, and she didn't seek services for her children because she was afraid that she would go to jail because she didn't pay her taxes. So one of the first things we did was, when we got in the door, was find somebody to do taxes for her for free. We connected her to several different resources in the community so that the kids could immediately start reading some assistance. So referred to the local mental health community mental health center for one of the children, and we connected her with regional center so that the other child was able to get this coordinator, and that include helping to fill out all the paperwork. So I understand if somebody's already in the partnership for Hope Waiver, that wouldn't be a concern here, except for that sometimes there's multiple kids in a family that have a developmental disability, and just because one person has regional center doesn't mean that the other children that might also be eligible would have regional center. So it's another thing that we would do. In this case, after we started serving mom, connecting her to the resources, we were able to help her get her children Medicaid. We were able to help her get IEPs for her children, and in one case, a behavior support plan. So when the door, the mom was in terrible crisis. And what we do is get the most precise needs met first. So in her case, if she was afraid of going to jail because of taxes, she wasn't accessing the services that she needed. By the time we were finished, her children had services, she had access to DMH, and then her children were also being successful at school. Instance where oftentimes the mom is exhausted, she feels isolated, she feels like she is having issues that nobody else is having. Parents are often don't understand what they go through, and we are able to walk in as parents of children that have disabilities ourselves, we immediately are able to make them feel like you're not alone, there's nobody else. We've through this. We have been able to go through the journey and learn all the ins and outs, and because we've done that, we can now help you. So in lots of cases, we are starting by trying to give parents the confidence that all you have to ask the questions. You don't have to be the expert at school or in any system, but you do have to be able to ask the questions, you know. So what is happening? What are my options? What can I do? What's to be done? And also to be somebody says, no, we can't do that, or no, that isn't possible. Well, find out why. Why isn't it possible? And if necessary, go to the next step. So we were teaching families to advocate for themselves and their children. And oftentimes that's a lifelong thing for families. But as we were providing the emotional support, Mom was depressed. She was entirely isolating herself. So she was having 2 children. One of the children was self-harming. She felt lost, confused, didn't know what to do. Her children were going to school, but she was being called every week to get her children because of behaviors, and just get in to start talking to Mom about her own self-care and how she's not able to care for herself. Certainly she wouldn't be able to effectively care for her children. And so sometimes we just start there, giving parents the confidence to the permission. Parents feel guilty. They feel like, why should they be doing something for themselves when there's so many other things to do? So we try to lift them up, get them in a healthy place so that then they can support their children. And we have great results. Parents, generally speaking, our families are a program for about 11 months. We see them weekly, maybe an hour a week, hour and a half a week. And as time progresses and as they get the supports, we see them less. And like a meeting or a court or something, you might visit a little bit longer. And there are stipulations in service that dictate how many hours a year you're able to serve a family. Ever exceed expectations.
Great. There's some really good examples of how an FSP supports the family and the parent so that they support their family member with a disability. That's some of the big questions that we've gotten a lot lately, and trying to explain what the service was and how it works and how it functions alongside a support coordinator. So they're really good examples. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.
So we're getting some questions. I just want to say thank you for all those questions. What we're going to do is compile those and put together an FAQ, and we'll post that along with the presentation materials that we have today with our PowerPoint and the webinar. Yeah. So if you're an organization or provider agency that would like to know more about family support services, you will need to reach out to your provider relations liaison at the regional office in your area to discuss contract requirements and go through the necessary paperwork. I give you a link in the PowerPoint to a map that identifies which regional office you should contact on the county or the counties that you serve. And relations liaison can then assist you in reviewing your current contract if you have one, or in obtaining a new contract to provide services through the division. With a link, a PowerPoint to the provider bulletin that was created. This has been posted on the division's website as well. The provider bulletin actually provides some additional details about the family peer support service, including the rates and the billing information. So you can check that out as well. Do you have any other final thoughts that you would like to share? No. All right. Well, that concludes our webinar today around family peer support services. Again, this is a service that is available through the Partnership for Hope waiver. And I thank everyone for your time and hope you have found this information to be helpful.